Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a Calp versus Crackety casted game. Calp going to be spawning in on the left-hand side of the map, in the color yellow, playing as the English. Crackety spawning in on the right-hand side of the map, in the color red, playing as the Holy Roman Empire. Now, I love this matchup between players. Not necessarily the civilization matchup here, but just the two players. Because if you haven't catched a Crackety or Calp match before live, I highly recommend you try and catch it live. Because unfortunately, we don't have the in-game chat, which means we won't be able to see any of the funny messages. But basically, these two, they're always crap talking each other. It's hilarious. So I highly recommend you check out these two guys when they're live. I'll leave links in the description to where you can find them, because it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. So we're going to be taking a look at one of their taking a look at one of their games here on the ranked ladder. We're on the map Lipany, and this is actually a civilization matchup that we've seen quite a bit, especially through the recent weeks on EGC TV. I've been casting the B stream over there, and we've been seeing a lot of this matchup, and it tends to work out pretty well for the Holy Roman Empire if they can catch out the English early on. So what we tend to be seeing from the English is they like to go for a very much all-in approach with lots of longbows, some spears. But if they overextend and the Holy Roman Empire catch them out with some horsemen and they don't have enough spears, then it can be terrible for the English. But we'll have to see what Calp looks to do here, because Calp's playstyle's a little bit different to the, the regular English player. Well, I don't know about that, but, Calp, he loves playing defensive, right? He loves his turtles. He loves just booming up with a few TCs. So maybe that's what we see out of him here, but he's almost good enough to age up. Council Hall going to get dropped down there with just 2 villagers for the time being. So a bit of a slow age up there coming through from him, but oh, look at this. Crackety gonna be going up with the Meinwerk Palace. Crackety. He's doing it. He's doing it. We see 4 villagers there on the landmark. Now, I've actually been talking about this landmark a lot because it is a good landmark. It is a good landmark, especially when you play the Holy Roman Empire in the feudal age. Because getting an extra couple melee defense armor on spearmen and horsemen, which are the 2 main units you're making anyway as the Holy Roman Empire in the feudal age, it's huge. You're able to just defend yourself so well up against any sort of, men-at-arms from the English if they decide to make it. It's pretty huge. And you also get all of your upgrades cheaper, so you can grab your Iron Undermesh when you're up against the English, one of the most important upgrades, for a little bit cheaper. Get it in a little bit faster as well. So I like this decision here from Crackety. And we see he's going to be making another prelate here from the TC. So he's still going to be having the buffs from the prelates, just not in an Archon Chapel. Oh, I think this is so smart. I really do think the Meinwerk has something going for it. You just need to make sure you can put on a lot of aggression in the feudal age, because you're missing out on villagers, right? If you train prelates from the TC, you're not making villagers. So that's mainly why people go up with the Archon Chapel. But the Meinwerk, you've got all of these upgrades. If you can get some good damage in here by utilizing these upgrades, then I think this is the better landmark. And it scales better. Well, maybe it doesn't scale better into the late game. It's a tough one, right? Because the Archon Chapel is so good when it comes to the economy. But the Meinwerk, it's so good when it comes to these unique upgrades, like Steeled Barring and Riveted Chainmail. These are the 2 unique upgrades inside of the Meinwerk. So we see Riveted Chainmail gives 2 extra melee defense armor to Spearmen and Horsemen. And then you got Steeled Barring, which is a Castle Age upgrade, which grants an extra 2 melee and 2 ranged armor to Knights, which makes him one of the best Knights in the game. So, pretty good upgrades, but you're sacrificing that economy though. So we'll have to see what Crackety can look to utilize with this. We see he's going to be grabbing his +1 attack. We see they're a lot cheaper inside of the Meinwerk. Only 75 gold compared to the 125 gold it usually costs. So Crackety going to be moving out now with that horseman. Calp, on the other hand, he's just getting out a few longbow. Hasn't dropped down any sort of barracks yet. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for him to defend up against these horsemen. But I mean, he's still got the TC Gatling gun, right, and the few longbows out, so he's going to be all right here. I'm sure. Yeah, there it is. +1 ranged attack as well, going to be really, really helpful for him. And we see Crackly going to be just grabbing himself Iron Under Mesh. They're going to be taking hardly any damage from. Well, I mean, I say hardly. He's still going to be taking some damage, but he's going to be reducing that with that upgrade, which he's grabbing for a super cheap cost. So we see here, he's able to just dive in underneath this gold. Not that much damage being put onto the horseman. May have to pull back now underneath that TC. As we see, the horseman will be going down. So a little bit of an overextension there from Crackly. Probably not the best fight for him. We see he has moved out here onto the deer with that single prolate. He's starting to make quite a few horsemen now. We see he's up to 3. Got a 4th one in the queue. Know what the production's been dropped down for him for the time being. Still no riveted chainmail coming through for him. A super cheap upgrade. We see that only 105 gold, 45 food. It's a little bit surprising from him there. But I guess he doesn't have the big enough mass yet to be able to warrant this upgrade coming through, right? You're only at 4 horsemen, so it makes sense. And especially at the moment, right, when Calp's only making ranged units, that upgrade doesn't affect any ranged armor on these guys. But we see here Crackly diving in underneath that TC, going to be taking out a single villager, going to be losing 2 horsemen for it though. Does cause a little bit of idle time. So 1 villager so far, not too bad, but I mean, Crackly, you've lost out on quite a bit of food so far. You know, you've sacrificed 300 food, 60 wood so far this game, just for a single villager kill and a little bit of idle time. Maybe I'm just getting another villager kill. He does indeed. So pretty good value for him there. And he's going to be surviving with that horseman as well, causing even more idle time. So pretty nice for him so far. We see 5 horsemen currently in the queue here for Crackly. That's a lot of horsemen. At this point in time, I think a second stable could be needed. For Crackly, he's stacking up quite a lot of his resources now. He could possibly think towards a castle age now. We see, if he cancels these horsemen, he could definitely look towards a castle age. May need some more villagers on the food, though. And Calp, for the time being, just massing up longbow. No barracks down for him. He needs to be careful moving out like this. You know, moving away from this TC. Not only are you missing out on the extra TC fire, but you're also missing out on the network of castles. Crackly is going to be able to get some more raids in here. We see another villager might be going down. It is indeed going to be going down. Crackly loses 1 horseman for it. But Calp needs to be careful here. Moving out with such a large force of longbow like this without any spears is dangerous. Crackly just going to be dropping down an outpost now on the gold. We see stacking up a lot of resources right now. Definitely looking towards that castle age. But honestly, if Crackly can get out some more horsemen here, I feel like he could maybe completely wipe this. It's something I talk about a lot with the English. You got to be so careful with moving out, because longbow, they're one of the slowest units in the game. They're slower than your normal archer. So extending out too far with them, you have to be super careful, because if a massive horseman comes in that can clean this up, there's no escaping. There's no escaping whatsoever for this mass. So Calp needs to be super careful here, because Crackly's still pumping out those horsemen, still raiding the gold of Calp here and the wood line. So Calp having to make a little bit of a move away from the gold, just going to be gathering wood for the time being, gathering a little bit of food from his farms. Crackly, he almost has enough to age up. He's 20 gold away. Does he have any gold sitting in these? Oh, he doesn't. He doesn't. Where's his next gold? His gold's all the way back here. Calp, he's coming at the perfect time right here. Crackly going to be losing out on a prolate there. Huge value there for Calp. Not only is that, you know, a slot in the town center, but it's 100 gold as well. It's huge. Crackly going to be going for a little bit of a quick wall at the back, stopping Calp from making his way through here. He has to dive through the TC if he wants to make it through to Crackly's villagers on the other side. But Crackly needs to be careful once again, maybe losing out on some more villagers here. That's going to be... Oh no, Calp. He's going to be making his way through, and Crackly, his villagers, He deletes the wall. He makes it through. Does he go for a little bit of a quick wall again? I don't think he does. No, he's just going to be running away with that. Has enough gold to age up now, though. Regnant's Cathedral coming through. Oh my, he's building over here. Okay, interesting. Building it over here with 15 villagers. I guess he can't really build it in the base here, so... I mean, sure. I guess it works. It's a little bit exposed, though. But I guess you can't really risk aging up over here when longbow are out on the field. And Crackety behind this. It's just waiting for the age up. I think it's going to be knights in the queue immediately here. Kalp going to be moving out once again with even more longbow. I've got to say, Kalp's force are looking pretty strong at the moment. I don't think Crackety has enough here to move out with the horsemen. And we see here, Kalp being really smart, deploying all of his stakes. Which means Crackety's not going to be able to dive on top of this without Kalp either moving or without Crackety taking a ton of damage from those stakes. But Crackety, he's got the age up through. No knight in the queue, no steeled barring. He's got +2 ranged attack coming through. I think I prefer this, to be honest. Oh, actually, do I? No, I probably don't. I think steeled barring's the better upgrade here because it's +2 ranged defense. So you're getting the equivalent of 2 of these upgrades. But this upgrade is good nonetheless. It does also affect your horsemen, right? So I think it's still a good choice. I do want to see steeled barring coming in for him, though. More horsemen now in the queue, no knights. We see Kalp here getting a little bit cleaned up. No veterancy horsemen coming in, though, for Crackety. Just sticking with the feudal age ones. And I don't think it's going to be enough here to clean this up. +2 defense is coming through. What is going on here, Crackety? Where are these guys coming from? He needs to be careful, though. Doesn't want to run into that longbowman mass. Kalp is able to clean this one up. Crackety is still making horsemen. He's bringing in some relics. We see a second relic, third relic coming home for him. So going to be sitting very happy on the 6 relics that those the 3 are worth for the Holy Roman Empire. And Crackety's still on the 1 production building here. What is his plan? And look at the food he's got saved up in the bank right now. Kalp is just going to be diving the TC here. He hasn't got his Iron Undermesh through, but that is coming through. 30 seconds away. I feel like this isn't the greatest of fights for Kalp here. You know, he's losing out on a lot of his force. He is heading towards the Regnant's Cathedral, though. This could be terrible for Crackety. He's got so much eco over here. He's got 3 relics in here as well. Kalp, does he have Siege Engineering in? No, he doesn't, but he can grab it. That upgrade comes through very quick. We see there only 125 gold and takes 30 seconds. But Kalp, he's sitting over here now, guarding the Regnants, is still providing all of the gold, but Crackety having to reposition a lot of his economy right now. And that's not what he wants. Couple knights going to be making their way through. Still no unique upgrades here from the Meinwerk, but he's used it pretty effectively this game nonetheless, right? He's grabbed lots of these upgrades that have been a lot cheaper. So I think this Meinwerk is still worth it. But maybe that's me just coping. I'm not exactly sure, but Crackety also out on the gold over in 2 positions right now. Still making some more... Wait. Crackety. Are you going Imperial? He is? What? Oh my... This is the greediest thing I've ever seen. He's now making more stables as well. I am speechless. Crackety, this is so damn greedy. And look at Kalp right now. He's just sticking it out in the... You're going to be Imperial Age up against Feudal Age. And Kalp is going to be able to take out your Regnants here, which has all 3 of your relics in there. And Kalp behind this, look at this. He's just going to be walling this up. I think that's really, really clever. We see Knights are out for Crackety, though. Going to be able to push back some of the longbow here. Crackety does have +2 ranged attack in... Oh, ranged defense in, sorry, as well. So these longbow really don't stand much of a chance up against these knights, which now Crackety is going to be grabbing that steeled barring upgrade. There it is. The Ajax comes through. Villager's going to get immediately queued up there for him. Crackety going to be moving out now towards the berries. Kalp, he must be in shock right now. He's still in the Feudal Age up against Crackety in the Imperial Age. This is absolutely crazy. We see he's got a decent mass now to where he can actually one-shot the horseman. But we see here, the knights with their ranged defense armor, take barely any damage. They've got 6 defense right now, and the longbow do 7 damage, which means these longbow do 1 damage. And Crackety, despite grabbing the steeled barring upgrade, isn't going to actually affect his knights whatsoever, because Calp already just does 1 attack to the knight anyway. So a little bit unfortunate there for Calp. He's going to be under a lot of pressure, definitely looking towards that castle edge now. He's going to need it. He needs these upgrades coming through. But fortunately for him, does take out the Regnant's Cathedral here. That's going to be 3 relics on the floor for Crackety, which means, you know, he loses out on a lot of his economy. But that's only going to be expanding for him. We see the Palace of Swabia is up. It only takes 6 seconds per villager. And Crackety, he's starting to make more and more knights now. He's struggling a little bit on the food. Calp needs to do some good economic damage. This is a crazy strategy from Crackety. I feel like this shouldn't work. I feel like this definitely should not work. Meinwerk into Palace of Swabia at like the 15-minute mark, up against a feudal age all-in from the English. It shouldn't work. It just shouldn't work, but it does. I don't understand why, and I love the micro here from Crackety, avoiding all of the palings. And he's just going to be able to wipe out all of these longbow. We just see here, this knight just takes no damage. Look at the armor, plus 8. Well, he's got 8 ranged defense armor. He's got 6 melee defense armor, 25 damage. More and more knights are on the way from him now. He can always grab his elite upgrade as well if he wants to. Costs a little bit of gold, so maybe not worth it at this point in time. But it's always something you can look towards in a second. But Calp, he's just going all in here, feudal age. He's not even going up to the castle age. I mean, I'm not sure if this is going to work here. You're going to need a huge mass of longbow to be able to deal with these knights. But, you know, feudal age all in English should beat this greedy play. But it's not. And that's what Calp's so confused about right now. Because it's like, this should work, but it doesn't for Calp. And it does for Crackety. And we see Crackety's going to be able to repair up that Regnance. The wall didn't complete here for Calp, so he's going to be able to finish this one up. Get the relics back in the bank, and he's going to be able to make some good gold economy once again. Calp now going to be looking to age up here. Pulling lots of villagers, 20 villagers right there on the King's Palace. He needs to get this up quick. He needs to get his +1 ranged attack, as well as his veterancy upgrades on these longbow, because at the moment he does no damage to these whatsoever. He just needs to buy as much time as possible to get the upgrades through. But even then, Crackety's already 30 villagers ahead because of that Palace of Swabia. The Palace of Swabia is an absolutely crazy building. And we see Calp, he's down to 13 longbow, having to evacuate on the wood line, having to evacuate on the farm shortly. We see the King's Palace is going to get up, but at what cost? We see Crackety here, just taking out all of the units. More and more reinforcements coming through from him as well. The Regnance is not complete. It looks like Crackety's just given up on it. He's just going all in here on the knights. Crackety up to 10 on the field. Look at the army value for him compared to Calp. Calp just has no... He has nothing. And we see here, the 9 damage that the English TC usually does, it still does 1 damage towards knights. This is not what you would expect from an English TC. They just barely tickle these knights. They barely tickle them. And Crackety, he can just sit under here. He's more than happy to sit underneath his TC and idle out Calp. And GG gets called. Calp going to be tapping out here up against the strategy that probably shouldn't work, but it does work with the Holy Roman Empire. What a crazy game. If you did enjoy this, please do feel free to leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.